Hello and thank you for joining me today for day 23 of Creep on June, hosted by Tracie Fox. Now before we start, a little bit of housekeeping. Firstly, I've only just made these makes, so I'm covered in ink, so you have to deal with that. Secondly, if you watched my journal flip through video that went up on Saturday, you will have, well, I mentioned that I was going to a concert that night. Today is Sunday. I was at said concert last night and I woke up with no voice, so I think it's come back, but I haven't spoken too much today, so it might go halfway through, and my husband's already told me that under no circumstances will he be reading out today's story for me. So hopefully my voice will hold out, but the concert was awesome and well worth the croak in my voice. So thank you for joining me today, and we're on day 23, and I have actually also made day 24, so don't be looking behind. So day 23. Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. So it is time for more of the Raven to be written. So as I mentioned before, if you do want to hear me recite the whole of the Raven, I have linked my Povember playlist in the description, and I recited the Raven in the final video when I did a full flip through. Povember, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, is a Poe-based November prompt challenge hosted by Release the Craftin, who I've also linked their channel in the description. And also, thank you to my wonderful viewer who said to put a book under my journal so I can keep it up and it won't flap about. So yeah, I've put a little box under it, so it is staying open. So thank you for that. Okay, so let's get on. Edgar can't stop thinking about the events of yesterday in the forest, that laughing that he heard there, and the same that he had heard in the castle. He knows that he promised Jupiter he wouldn't return to the castle, but there is just something pulling him back. And that portrait of that lady that just disappeared. He has to go back. He'll face the consequences if he has to with Jupiter, but he can't leave this land without another exploration of that strange place. He begins his long walk up to the castle. He can hear caws behind him all the way up, as if a warning to him. Sometimes he catches a glimpse of black feathers as he turns and looks behind him, but then they're gone. He thinks Jupe must be following him, trying to stop him from going back up there. He wonders if he should turn back. No, I need to go back there, he thinks. He's walking and walking and walking, and can always just see the castle in the distance, but it never seems to be getting any closer. I'm sure I wasn't walking for this long before, Edgar thinks to himself. What is going on? Although Edgar is determined, he's not stupid, and after a little while more of walking and never getting any closer, he gives up the ghost, so to speak, and decides to head off in a different direction and see what he can find. And as he turns off, he sees Jupiter swooping ahead and flying off, as if satisfied that his job is done, for now. Edgar heads down a beaten down path and is back in the woods again, but a different part of it this time than what he's used to. He walks deeper and deeper into the woods and comes across a tomb. He didn't even think tombs were used in England. But his British historical knowledge isn't very vast, so you never know. The name Hayward is etched into the stone at the top, and it appears that it contains this family's remains from the 13th century. Edgar studies the tomb in great detail. There's a verse inscribed in the back. It's near the bottom of the stone and almost hidden by the undergrowth. He reads it aloud. Here lie the bones of the house of Hayward, cursed in blood, bound by sin. Those who wake us wake the dark. Tread not upon our rest, lest you join it. Edgar feels a chill go down his spine, and just then a cold wind swirls around him and he hears a loud shriek. Noah's a caw, and Jupiter comes and lands on top of the tomb and shouts at Edgar, and he takes it as a leave now. Edgar does as he's told this time. He dashes off, not really knowing where he's going, but just tries to get as far away from that tomb as possible. Eventually, he finds a way out of the forest and gets himself home as quickly as possible. He wants to find out about that Hayward family and wants to check if there are any books in that bookcase in his room that are about the town's history. But by now it's too dark and he can't see the titles properly by candlelight, so it'll have to wait for the morning. He hears a tapping at the window. It's Jupiter. "Come to make sure I got home safe, did you?" Edgar says. Edgar opens the window and Jupiter, looking very grand and saintly, clearly satisfied with his success of the day, hops right inside the open window. Edgar looks at him and wonders how old he is. Is he really just a normal crow, or is he actually a stately raven of yore, sent here to protect Edgar whilst he uncovers secrets of this village? I hope you enjoyed today's chapter, and hopefully tomorrow we will find out about the Hayward family and what curse has befallen them. So let's have a look at what I've made. So I've just used this page, and I quite liked how the paper was, so I just didn't decorate the back of the page at all because I like the background. And then we've got this sort of tuck here, and here is the tomb, can you see? And then I've just put in crypt grit paste the word lost, which is I'm going to try and pick this up, but it's quite hard to see because what I like about the distress texture paste is that they take all like inks and stuff that are behind them. So because this is printed on like an inkjet printer, I think it just pulls some of that ink up, which is cool. And then just rough that up a bit, and then I've made this tag, and we've got the quote here: "Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore." The word mausoleum, the number 23, some of that packaging stuff, and then if you open this here, ignore that page, we've got here the castle on this transparency, but it's always just out of reach, it's very much in the distance. So instead we go to the forest, and we've got the forest, we've got the name Hayward here, we've got Jupiter sat on top of the tomb, a bird of yore. I've done some black texture paste, some bats. Here's what we could imagine the castle might have looked like when it was a beautiful palace, and then I just put the word grim there. The back there I've just left as is because it just makes it a bit flatter. I'm being a little bit conscious of keeping things a bit flatter, not always. And that is what I've made for today. So it's a fairly simple one, but using lots of textures and things. So I will be back again tomorrow for day 24. And in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.